All right, so I want to go live with you guys here and just kind of show some of the stuff. Now, one of the things that's actually pretty important here is that I've been working through the shots that I had put into shot grid, and so now this is I had told you guys I had created a blocking version of Juan's sequence and a blocking version of Dion's sequence also. And so this one you guys have seen these shots already, but this is I'm gonna just kind of show you some of the shots that I put together. And the thing that I'm actually pretty happy with here is how I got all the cameras to move. So the first thing that I'm going to show you here is this is the aerial shot, which is essentially if you if you assume that the bridge is right here, it's coming out of the bridge and it's driving down the road. And so we're gonna when we get this into wands, I can export this out of this sequence and I can put it into wands. We'll have trees, we'll have brush, we'll have all the things on the side of the road to make it really work. And this is one of the shots from the that Alfa Romeo commercial that we've been kind of using as a reference. One of the things that I'm actually really happy with in this one is the fact that and I'm gonna nope. Is that essentially for the rover, what I did was I just created a cube and I made it so it's invisible, so it doesn't ever render. And I parented the entire group that drives the rover to that cube. And so now when I move the cube, the rover moves with it. And then I also parented all of the cameras to that cube also. So when the car moves, all the cameras go with it. So you can kind of see from a top view here, if I can make that work. I think this is one of my cameras here. Is that? Now I can't see it. But I've got a bunch of cameras that move along with the you can see I've got a camera here. I've got several cameras that are around the camera, and so or around the vehicle. So you can kind of see that they're all doing different things, but as the car moves, the camera moves with it. And so I've got one. This one it does the tracking, which is a moving directly a side shot. So we're going to see lots of forest and things like that are whipping in front of the camera. I've got one that is looking at the name badge. I've got one that is shooting back towards the bridge. Got one recording the wheels. I've got one that's a POV of the vehicle looking down the road. And so in a lot of ways, what I've been able to accomplish with setting it up like that is you get in one sequence just by moving the vehicle, you get about 6 different shots that will work with it. And so I'm really happy with kind of what the planning has given us on some of this. So I showed you the aerial. This is the one. Let's see if I can turn everything up. Yeah, okay. So this is driving down the road, and we'll get the bridge put into the right spot here. That's going to work. There's will be a section of this that'll really work. Obviously, the wheels aren't spinning because we don't have the correct one in yet. This is the nameplate, and so we get a nice little move on that. Which when we get the trees in there and stuff, we're going to get nice reflections across everything. We'll get the lights turned on, and that's going to look really good. This one is this is the POV. So essentially, all it is just looking down the road, driving, and there is a shot just like this in the Alfa Romeo commercial, and it's literally on camera for less than a second, but it's an important shot to have because it gives perspective and it gives kind of context to where we are in the environment. And I think it's going to work really, really well when we get down to Juan and I had been talking about getting down to about this level, which is where we kind of look out into the open area, and we're going to see John Scott's train going by out there. That'll look really nice. Um, and this is a tracking shot. And so as the car moves down the road, you can see it really reveals the speed with it. And so with the forest that Juan put together, we're going to have trees and stuff like that whipping in front of the camera. And we'll have trees on the other side, and the lighting is going to be coming from the side where the camera is looking. So the car is going to be lit with shadows and glints and gleams of light coming through. It's going to get great reflections off the trees and that whole environment. It's going to look great. And we've also got I've got this wheel shot. I don't love this one yet. I may the one that you guys will remember from the Alfa Romeo one is a shot that is literally straight down the middle of the center part, axle of the wheel, and it kind of goes straight in, and it rotates in like 180 degrees. But I think this is kind of a cool shot on its own. And once we get the wheels spinning, obviously it'll make more sense. And I think if we can do some of the brushify stuff, which I'll get into here, if we can make that work, we can make this road look substantially better. So, and once we get Juan's trees in there, it's going to be a completely different looking shot. But the good news is that I've been able to render all of these out. I've also rendered out the two that we had inside the bridge. I've also rendered out most of the shots from, and I haven't even looked at them yet, from the farmyard. And so we'll be able to start cutting those together and seeing what this commercial is actually going to look like. And we also have Yad's horses that he gave me on Friday, which we got to get in. And so that's one thing actually, Dion, I wanted to talk to you about was bringing in his horses and into your sequence and getting them set up. You and I can talk about exactly where to put them. And then we can actually get a really, really cool shot. And I've got it already thought out in my head, how to make it work. So, and that your sequence is going to be the one that I nail down next in terms of exactly all the camera positions. And once we've got all those, we cut this thing together. And the one of the things that we do is we put a little text item on the screen that's a frame counter. And we also type in the name of the shot on the burned in on the screen. The point of which is to let us know when we edit this thing together, and this is exactly how it gets done in the visual effects community, is that you do the edit and then you can see exactly what frame numbers are necessary to be working on. So, for a lot of these, for example, I have done them as maybe a 300 frame sequence just for the sake of that's how long the sequence is, and I just let it render those out. But we may end up only using 30 frames here, 120 frames here, and then and so when you can know that what the in and out points are of those frames or of those cameras, then you can realize I don't have to do so much work in sections that will never be seen on camera. So that all is coming. The next big thing is going to be to cut some of the stuff together, and we should hopefully have that by first thing tomorrow, and that's going to help us a lot. So, anybody got any thoughts from what you're seeing? Does this kind of look like what we were thinking? I hope.
I mean, for me, there's no really thought process. I'm just following what you guys say do. I don't really
Sure.
know.
Ultimately, um, what we're doing is, we're developing a look, for this thing, and walking you guys through what would be the process if you were working in a larger organization. But the hopefully one of the big takeaways for you guys is that when you start to see how it all works, and you see all these skill sets working together, that you are going to be able to do this on your own. The more and more that I get into Unreal and really really spend time in it, and like even Brandon was showing me the Brushify stuff earlier today, which I had not seen. I start realizing how capable, you know, Unreal is in the hands of a really good artist. Like, if you start really spending your time in there and understanding how it works, the amount of work that one person can accomplish in a day is ridiculous, actually. So, that's you know, that's going to be a big thing. The big thing, like for you, Dion, which today is we're gonna get that horse in there, and we're gonna finish getting the camera set up so we can dial in exactly where um a lot of the foliage is gonna go and stuff. I did sort out the problem that I was having with the distance culling from the camera, because it was just kind of blowing out stuff that was a little bit too far from the camera, and I got that figured out, so that made me happy, because otherwise it wasn't looking right. So anyway, um, so let's see. Cody, if you want to check in with Cameron, I know he's working on that rig. That's kind of high on my list of things that we need to get, so that this car starts to look right, because those wheels have got to move correctly. And um, Wendy, I've got some stuff that you could help me with, actually. I've got a bunch of these shots that I rendered out, and I would love it if we could at least drop them into a timeline in Adobe Premiere, so we can start to see what an edit might look like on this. So um,
Yes, sir. I'll take
I,
care of that for you.
I'll show you exactly where everything is, and then it'll make sense. So cool. Sarah, I know you're dealing with other stuff at the moment. And then Dion, I'm gonna stop by. I'm gonna talk to you first, and then Wendy, I'm gonna come to you next, and then Cody, you and Cameron are gonna chat. So
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
awesome,
Ready as can be.
cool, very good. All right, you guys, give me a couple minutes, and then I'll be right back, and then we'll get cracking. So
Good thing. Take all the time
cool.